Hi everyone, the last circle problem here, and this time we're giving a circle not in standard form. And so what we need to do is put it in standard form, because as we see in the last video, that's the easiest way to graph a circle. So this involves completing the square, which is something you should know already in this course. We will review it later on when we study quadratic equations. So we're going to go through completing the square quickly here, and if we need to clear up some issues, we'll do it actually in class. So solution here. So the first thing we want to do is we want to keep all the variables on one side of the equation. So x squared plus y squared plus 6x minus 8y, and we want to move the 6 to the other side of the equation. And then we're going to take the x variables and we're going to group them together. And notice that I'm going to create a blank spot here. And that's the term we're going to have for completing the square. And then I'm going to do the similar thing with the y. So y squared minus 8y plus blank equals to 6. And so we need to figure out what goes in the blanks. So let's do x first. So let me get a different color here. So let's do this in red. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the 6 and divide it in half and get a 3. And then we're going to take that 3 and we're going to square it and get a 9. And that what goes right here. And because we do it to one side of the equation, we'll have to do it to the other side. So let's pick a different color and do let's do orange this time. And we'll do the same thing here. We'll take the negative 8 and divide it by 2 to get a negative 4. And then we'll take the negative 4 and square it and get a 16. And we'll add 16 here, and we'll add 16 there. And notice that now this one here and this parentheses here are perfect square trinomials, so they factor very nicely. And they factor as follows. Didn't need the color palette, but nice to know it's there. So x plus 3 all squared plus y minus 4 all squared is going to equal to the sum of all these things. Well, we are going to get 6 and 16, which is going to give us 32 plus, not 32, excuse me, 22 plus 9 gives me 31. And so, one thing I do want to point out is, and this is not coincidence, this always happens. Notice that when I took this 6 and divided by 2, I got a 3. Well, look what showed up in the factorization. It's an x plus 3. Notice that when I take a negative 8 and divide it by 2, I got a negative 4. And guess what showed up in the factorization? Negative 4. That always happens. So we'll talk more about that when we talk about quadratic equations later on in the semester. But I just wanted to point that out because when you have some nastier complete the squares, that will save you every time from having to do a hard factorization. So let me rewrite our answer so you have a final answer. So our final answer turns out to be, I don't want chisel, I want a pen. Turns out to be x plus 3 all squared plus y minus 4 all squared equals 31. So this is the last video. So reminder, if you have trouble with any of the practice problems on the guided notes, you can email me or you can ask in class. I'll ask at one point during the class if anyone has any questions. Also, don't forget there is on-campus resources, which we talked about in class, where you can go to get help as well. And this is it for the first set of videos, so I will see you in class.